Good evening, Timmys. Only quick announcement that I have is tomorrow or Saturday, October 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we're having a talent show where the winner will receive a full collector kit and a Ragnar with the ability to pick if you want to run the green with me or if you just want to keep it. That'll probably go in a video as background footage or whatnot, but that is what the prize will be for the person who wins first. Similarly to my gear for video, this isn't something that I can just tell you or show you and then instantly you become better. This is more of a progressive way to get better. And I'm just going to give you a few pointers, tips here and there to just help you grow quicker and get better at the game faster. Now, a few things that you can do to automatically enhance how you play and the gunfights that you take is go into your settings, scroll all the way down under game, turn on janky aim fix and hand smoothing. This is going to make your aim feel a lot better without having to enable gun stocks. I don't like gun stocks personally. They're just not for me. I've been playing VR for years without them, so this is what I use in this game to make my aim feel a little bit better. The last tip is under graphics, scroll down to foliage and turn that all the way down to low. This is going to make bushes, trees, and grass either appear way less or make them way easier to see through. I would also turn effects down to either the lowest setting or the second, and this gets rid of the fog on Maka. I don't know what else it does, but the fog can definitely get annoying and make it harder to spot people, so I have that turned down. Now for the actual part of the video, there's this one quick, I guess, mechanic, I'll even call it in this game, and that is called Desync. For those that don't know what Desync is, that's if I'm standing in one spot in the game, the server thinks I'm there. If I move to the right, the game will obviously move my player to the right, although if someone else is lagging or their ping is higher than mine or whatever, then I will lag at a different time that I went, if that makes any sense. Basically, to sum it up, when someone's looking at you, you're not always where you are at the time you think you are. Since that explanation went well, I'm just going to show you visually what this looks like. Just look at the picture. Obviously, it looks normal. That's what it looks like when there's someone in front of you. However, what Desync does is looking at the blurred image, say this guy was moving, the blurred one is where he actually is, and the non-blurred one is what it looks like on your screen. Basically, Desync drags you behind no more than usually a second, but that second can get you killed. The reason I'm saying this is because when you go to swing a corner, 99% of the chance you have the advantage and they don't, because again, the actual body that you are in is going to swing first, while the Desync version is going to be like half a second delayed, so you'll see them before they see you. This is most commonly known as Peeker's advantage, but I just wanted to let this influence most of the fights you take. Also, this is not for every fight, only most of them. Finally, with Desync out of the way, let's get on to headshots, how they work, what to do, how to aim. Now, believe it or not, your head is the most important part of your body, and Tabor replicates that. This game is a one-shot headshot game, so even if you have a full collector helmet on and you got that visor up and a 22 slips on through, you're gone. Unfortunately, helmets are not that great, and any AP rifle round, 5.56, 7.62, 7.62, 51, all of those, they will go straight through the best helmets in the game with one bullet. So obviously, the number one thing to do when you're aiming is aim for the head. Although I think most people understand this, so you're not going to be the only one doing that. I'm going to keep milking this picture, so going back to it, where should you aim? Because the torso has the biggest hitbox and it's usually the first thing that the eyes see, that is the default point at which you will place your gun. However, that is not where we want to be aiming. Instead, you want to aim almost center face. I would go lower towards in between the mouth and the nose just because recoil, but anywhere on the head works the best. Your default aiming position should be at their head, and the best way to get in the habit of doing this is when you're swinging corners, have your gun barrel almost eye level, maybe mouth level because the sight's going to be a little above, but just get in the habit of doing that, not pointing your barrel a little bit down towards their chest. Now there is two exceptions to this, and that is if you have a gun like an SMG and you know it's not going to go through an Alton or a collector's helmet, aim like neck area-ish if they don't have a tier 6 or 7 on. The reason you should do this is because neck damage, I believe, does the second highest damage next to head, which is obviously a one-shot. And if they don't have a T6 or 7 on, they can't protect their neck at all. Now, the second thing you could do is leg meta, but I don't really like doing this at all, and it's not a good habit to be aiming at someone's legs when you go to swing. So I would only do this after you've seen the person and you know their full kit and you have like a mat 49. But other than that, I would never do this. Now, going along with aiming is positioning. And the reason positioning is so important, I mean, this should be kind of common sense, but if I am holding a doorway and my back is exposed, I mean, you can infer what can go wrong. I would say positioning slash spacing. I'll get into that in a second, but positioning is probably the number one thing that gets people killed. If you are not realizing that some other angle is exposed on your body, that's a problem, and you're probably going to lose that gunfight. Now, I understand that not every single spot in every map has an angle where you know you're completely covered, but chances are that means you need to relocate or have a buddy watching your back, which is what I always do on Underground. For example, I like the big heavy door that is connected to gas, which is right in front of the main entrance to the left, that door. I like sitting behind that when I'm solo on Underground because you can hear them if they're coming down main entrance, but I always watch behind me if they're coming through back entrance. So you can see them coming through back, but you can hear them coming from main. And I guess technically, if you get in a fight on main or vice versa, your back will still somewhat be exposed, but there's not much you can do in that scenario. My rule of thumb is always just ask yourself the question, is the angle I'm looking at the only angle I can get shot from? If the answer is yes, you're good. If the answer is no, find a better position. Finally, the last tip that I have is spacing, which kind of goes along with positioning, but it's way worse. And I mean way worse. I would say out of 10 people that I play with, 8 of them have terrible spacing. Out of everybody that I have played with in my entire career of playing this game, which is over 100 people, maybe even more, I think that Roger Welty and AK, shout out to you guys, are the only people that I remember having great spacing. I never have to tell these guys to back up or space out anything, which unfortunately is something I can't say for most other people I play with. Now, I'm not clowning on anyone or calling anybody bad if you struggle with spacing, because I think it is literally the number one problem that every player faces. Now, I think after playing so many matches with everyone, I understand why spacing is such a problem, but I could be completely wrong on this. Now, I don't want to sound like I have an ego, but I like to think that I am better than a lot of people at this game. And so once they realize that, like when I play in the Discord, or even before that, they would kind of realize that, okay, he knows what he's doing. I'm just going to follow what he does. And that's okay. I understand if you do that. That's completely reasonable. However, some people will take this to the extreme and literally hug me while I am clearing a room. I don't really know what's going on up there in the head, but if you are on top of me and I go down, they're not going to stop shooting. Not everyone's reaction time is 0 milliseconds. So they're going to keep shooting 2 or 3 bullets, which is probably going to land on your head. So for those that are like literally extremely close, and I mean less than a foot distance of where I am at all times, you got to get comfortable in your own skin. You got to be willing to hold angles, watching behind. Because, again, if you're doing the exact same thing I'm doing at the exact same time, I mean, it's not going to help. If I'm aiming at their head and I kill them, they'll die. If you're right behind me, they'll probably just collateral you. Now, obviously, not everyone struggles with that kind of spacing. Once you get comfortable playing the game, that should go away. If not, you should probably practice it, because it can be not only annoying, but also end up losing you a lot of fights. But the main spacing that I find people struggle with is when we're like walking on Maka, for example, I turn around so many times and bam, teammates are right behind me. I think this is kind of more common sense, but again, if you are walking in a straight line, someone pops a corner, I go down, you're going down. If there's a third teammate behind our second teammate, he's either going to go down or he's going to shoot the second teammate or me. Like, it's so many problems come from this. I use the sidewalk as a kind of guide for where my teammates should go. If I'm on the right side, you should be on the left. And then if we have a third, he should be kind of in between. I'm not going to say go in the middle of the road if there's no cover, because obviously that's not smart. So for him, he probably should be behind first man. But really, there's no one specific spot I can give you. Anyways, I hope this helped. If there's something you want me to go over or cover more deeply, let me know in the comments. And again, join the Discord for the talent show that is now tonight Saturday, October 19th at 7 p.m., which is 5 hours and 15 minutes for me. It is 147. So make sure you're there. Big prize, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people.